Hey, Eagle Creek, we are celebrating 20 years of our church this Sunday.
Woohoo!
It's been an incredible ride, an incredible journey for Sherry and I. Remember 20 years
Absolutely.
ago, our kids were babies
Yeah,
back then.
we had 4, 3, and a little baby. 20 years of watching lives be transformed. See, now generations of kids and families starting to grow in the Lord.
What we want to do is just kind of walk you through our history and the locations we've been around Lisa. A lot of you don't know and weren't here for the whole journey. So you're going to get to see where we were and what happened along our journey. We're starting right here where we are at.
Yes, Legacy Park. This was our first meeting location. We started here, had about 100 people, which was
100
awesome.
people. For a while, we had literally every kid in the church in one room.
Yes.
And we're trying to partition them off from driving each other crazy. Like 3 weeks in,
Our nephew Daniel gave his life to Jesus. He was our very first person who committed his life to Christ here at Eagle Creek.
technically we didn't launch here. That's our next location. So here we are at Summit Lakes Middle School. This was our second location. It's actually where we launched our church to the community.
Easter that year was our very first big Easter outreach. Fantastic turnout. It was freezing cold. It was snowing.
While we were here, we had some of our first baptismal services out in the country at one of the church members' houses.
Yeah.
We used their pool and baptized out there. It was just a great time of growth
Yep.
and of launching community-wide.
So here we are. We're now at our third meeting location, Trail Ridge.
We did our biggest Easter outreach to date up on the side soccer fields. We had so many new families coming out. Fall festivals were going on.
The church continued to grow.
We also had some kind of comical problems.
In the auditorium, every time Matt moved around on the platform, the lights on the other part of the gymnasium would shut off.
One of our toddlers in particular liked to go and pull the fire alarm. We would have to empty the whole church out. The fire department would have to come and clear the building
Yeah.
so we could go in and
Multiple
have church
times.
again. But all the while, we're preaching in that gym and we're seeing people raise their hands and give their hearts to Christ, doing baptismals. We're launching small groups. And Sherry was like reaching half of our neighborhood for Christ through women's Bible studies. Amazing things were happening while we were here. Here we are in front of the B&B theaters. Yes, we met at the movie theaters. In fact, we purchased the website, themoviechurch.com, and for a while, that's all everyone knew us as, was
true.
the Movie Church instead of Eagle Creek Church.
It was such a special time for Matt and I personally because a lot of our neighborhood kids started coming to Eagle Creek and their families started coming. We saw God do a really awesome thing in our personal neighborhood during that
I
season.
remember doing vacation Bible schools in the back parking lot. Yes, there's a back parking lot at
Yes.
the B&B theaters, and we'd have all the kids out there.
And petting zoos and all the things. Also, we learned that mice really love movie theaters. We saw lots of mice in our candy bins, in all of our toys and stuff. We had a lot of cleaning to do every Sunday here.
Think about it, it's very dark and there's lots of food. What better
Yes.
place for mice? In fact, one Sunday I was doing the altar response for anyone who wanted to become a Christian, and a mouse ran across right in front of the screen on the little black curtain. We passed 200 people here at the movie theater before we hit 2 years old. Let's move on down the road. Here we are at our fifth location, the Gamber Center.
This was like my favorite location. It was so cozy. It just felt like home.
I think about where we are now and that kind of together family vibe we had. This was the other place that had that. We filled 2 services. We're running like 380 people when we ran out of room here.
We got to celebrate baptisms out back in this inflatable swimming pool.
And you just have everyone surrounding the swimming pool, standing outside
Yeah.
while you were doing the baptisms. It was just a really cool place for us.
So here we are at Lee Summit West, our 6th meeting location.
This was a challenging one.
Yes.
Setting up and tearing down at Lee Summit West was no joke.
We had a
Oh,
bicycle
yeah,
that we would
that's
ride to
right.
get some of our supplies from one side of the building to the other. It's a huge building.
Finally, the school were like, you guys are too big a church to be meeting in a school. You need to move out and go find your own location and your own building.
Which was tough at the time, but God had an exact plan for us.
And that's when God opened the door to our first permanent location where we didn't have to set up or tear down, and we'll go there next. Now, I know you're probably wondering, what are you guys doing out in front of a liquor store? What are you doing out in front of Macadoodles? Well, this was our 7th location, and we gotta
Yes.
say, we loved it.
Oh, it was awesome. We started with one storefront and then we bumped into a second storefront, rented a third one for our offices, bumped down all the way to the very far end for our preteens and our teens. If you wanted to drop off your preteens, you had to walk the entire length of the storefront just to get there.
Parking was a nightmare.
There's some huge pluses to not having to rent this facility anymore.
The church literally doubled in size while we were here, and we were able to launch a location down in Harrisonville. We're able to launch a church up in Kansas City, and that takes us to our own permanent building where we want to head next. So how many of you recognize where we are right now?
Woo-hoo!
Our present location.
Yes.
Since 2018, able to buy the 17 acres, build a 3,200 square foot building on this land. Thousands of people have come to faith in this location. In the last 3 to 4 weeks, we've seen over 100 people profess Christ.
800, 900 kids this summer giving their lives to Christ. We've been able to give more away to missions than ever before. Our outreach, our ability to get out in the community has just kind of exponentially grown since we've been here at the church.
This was also where we got to go through COVID. We can't leave that out.
Yes.
Shut down and trying to reopen. But we look back now as those are really great memories that reformed and reshaped our heart for growing and deepening discipleship. This church has gone deeper in its faith than it ever has before.
Yeah.
Our teens are going deeper. Our adults are going deeper. Our groups are going deeper. Discipleship. But we didn't just stop when we got a new building. God called us to do more even still.
Warrensburg.
Hey, Warrensburg, we're so excited to have you on board with what God is doing and the way He's growing His church. We know that God has incredible things for you. Great campus pastors there.
Yes,
Tyler and
we love you
Ashley have
guys.
done an amazing job down there, but we're not done yet. The best is yet to come. We truly feel that way. And that's what I want to share with you now.